What's going on, people? Peace and blessings to everyone out there, all the listeners. This is actually my first video, to be honest. It's been a long time coming because I've been woke for years now. But the thing is with me is that I was just studying and looking things up and taking things in, absorbing information, breaking things down, and trying to find my way, making sense of things, going through religion and all this stuff and trying to find what is the truth. I've had this urge. I want the truth, and I want the real truth. And I'm very good at deciphering and picking things up and noticing things. Most of the time I just go off my intuition. I could go into something and I know this ain't, and I'll follow that. So I've always been quite in tune with that. But I had a calling from years ago, to do this, to start breaking down information and putting it out there and helping other people to find their true self and find their true awakening and their true path. Find out who they really are. So I'm not fighting that anymore. I'm taking it serious, and I'm gonna start right now. I'm starting right now. This is the start. This is my first video that I've made, and it's basically, I'm just gonna break down a bit about the ego and the true self, and break down a bit about unity, because it's all gonna coincide with each other, what I'm gonna say. So what is the ego? The ego is the false sense of who you think you are, who you see when you look in the mirror, the voice that you hear, the clothes that you wear, the beliefs that you have. Everything, this all is part of your ego, of who you think you are. Now the ego is created over the years, since you were a child. All the things you went through, all the situations that you've been through, whatever kind of childhood you had, what relationship you had with your mum, what relationship you had with your dad, what relationship you had with the outside world, and most importantly, what relationship you had with yourself. Because most of us don't have a good relationship with myself. I know I didn't, and I still got that part of me that doesn't, because that's why I'm doing this, because I feel like this is a part of my healing to start teaching, and I want to help other people. If I done this my whole life and I had one person tell me that they came from that to this because of listening to my video, and it sent them down a path of awakening, I've done my job here on earth. That's how I see it. Some people don't have that urge to help people, but I do. So yeah. So your ego is formed over years, over the things that you cling onto, the things that you hold onto, the situations, the things that you've been through, and you start forming a character, and then you start living up to this character. At the beginning, you probably only, when you're a child, you probably only kind of be a certain character when you're away from your mom, and then when you come back to your mum, you start acting a different way. So that right there is the ego, where you act different in front of your friends to how you are to your mum. You know, like, okay, yeah, she don't want to see this side of me, and they don't want to know this side of me. So right there, you're just rejecting yourself. Because what side of you are you hiding? That's what you got to ask yourself. Every time when you're morphing, what are you hiding? You're hiding your true self, your true being, how you truly feel. That's what you're hiding. So how is that a courageous act? That is not a courageous act. That's actually a cowardly act. And when I say coward, I'm not calling none of you lot out there cowards, so don't take it in that way. I'm actually, when I talk about this stuff, I'm talking about myself, my own observation of my own ego. And I know once you know thyself, you know everybody else. That's just the way it is, because we're all the same. Yeah? So for the fact that I can't be myself in front of nobody. I can't say yes when I want to say yes, and no when I want to say no, and somebody might be saying something and I'm agreeing, yeah, but really truly I don't want to agree. That's the ego. That's the false sense of self. That's you trying to be a certain way to please this person over here. You don't even want to disagree with them on an opinion you have, because you're afraid you might hurt their feelings. Like, when I say fear, I don't mean you're in fear of getting attacked and getting beat up. I'm not saying you're a timid person that can't handle yourself, because I'm not. I'm not a timid person, but what I'm saying is you're still afraid of expressing who you are because you want to be liked. You're dying to be liked. You want to be accepted by the people out here, outside. You want to be accepted. But the thing is, the confusion is that you want to be accepted for something that you're not. And that's what starts the problem. Because now you're begging for acceptance for something that you're not. So then, say you're accepted by this one person for acting this way. Now you're going to go over to this person over here, and that person doesn't want to accept this part of you. So now you got to kind of morph a little bit again for this person. And this is what you're constantly doing every time you're interacting with people. It's on a subconscious level, and it's subtle, so you might not notice it, but you are. This is what happens. And this is what I'm saying, where the courage comes from. When you start to operate and be yourself in front of everybody, it takes a lot of balls, it takes a lot of courage. Do you know what I'm saying? Especially when you're used to vibrating in your full self. It's going to be hard. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people might not even recognize this within themselves. They might think that when they're being that ego, that's who they truly are. Because that's what I thought at one time. But I didn't fully believe it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I always knew the other side of me. But what it was, I didn't like the other side of me. The part of me that was compassionate, that was loving, that was forgiving, that had a connection with the world, you know, had liked nature, loved. The part of me that I thought the world didn't accept because of the messages I was picking up. No, you can't be like that, you got to be like this. So what I done, I started rejecting that side of me. My strengths, my greatest strengths, I started to reject and hide and cover up underneath anger, lashing out, just being the complete opposite to what I was, what I am, sorry. And there's a few things that I learned along the way that I will keep. You know what I'm saying? And they're always there in the toolbox. But I don't have to operate in that person every day, all day, every day, throughout my life, because it's paralyzing. It's horrible. It's horrible. We are all unhappy in life, and we're looking around thinking, why is it? And we're not knowing it's the way we deal with ourselves. It's the way we deal with other people. Talk to other people. Think about other people. You might not even criticize out loud, but you criticize in your head. All these things. This is what makes you unhappy, because really and truly, what you don't like in another person is basically a reflection of what you don't like within yourself. So this is where this is what I'm saying about the unity. Before you find unity in the world, before there is any unity out here in this physical world, between the races, between the religions, between the genders, between the old generation, the young generation, you have to find the unity within yourself. That's why it never works. That's why it would never work if we get a whole bunch of a few nations of people putting together, because we haven't worked on ourselves. We haven't looked in. We don't know ourselves yet. We haven't unified within ourselves. We all have this battle constantly where we're being something that we ain't. So that's where the unity. That's where there's no unity. That's where the disconnect is, because we have these two sides and we're not accepting either of them. I didn't want to accept my true pure sides, but at the same time, when I was acting in that horrible ego, I didn't want to accept that either. It used to cripple me. When I calm down, I go into a rage and do some outrageous things, because I did. You know what I'm saying? I ain't no perfect angel. I ain't coming in there to preach like I'm some angel. I've been living going down the path of destruction for years now. So I understand this stuff very well. And sorry, I lost my train of thought. But basically, yeah, the unity. We have to find the unity within ourselves. We have to accept both sides. You have to accept your negatives. You have to accept your negatives. You can't. Accepting yourself is not just accepting your good sides, like I'm a positive person, I'm helpful, and you know. You can't just accept you got to accept both sides, because you got to understand, if you reject any of your negative traits and your negative qualities, you reject it in the rest of the world. And everywhere that shows you that part of you that you don't like, everybody who mirrors it to you, you're gonna dislike them or have some type of grudge or have a problem with them. But you think it's with them, but really and truly it's with yourself. This is where it's all about self. It's all about working on yourself. Know thyself and understand thyself. Because anytime you find yourself criticizing somebody for something, look within. I promise you, it's within. It's within. It might operate in a different way. You know, like this person might display it in that way, and you might display it in this way. Like say, like arrogance or selfishness. But the root is still the same thing. It's still the same feeling of inadequate, feeling of inferior, feeling insecure. It's still the same feeling. It's just that because of our life experiences, we go about it different. You know what I mean? A boy and a girl is gonna express it differently. Boys usually express outwardly. Females are known to express inwardly, hurt themselves. Men start going out there and start hurting things, people, smashing things. So, but it's the same underlying feeling. That's what I'm saying. So just remember, when you're judging people and you feel a certain way about people, just remember that everything you see in them, every quality that you don't like, everything you're picking up that's really making you tick, that's really bothering you, you gotta understand the reason why it's bothering you so much is because it's mirroring what you don't like within yourself. That's all it is. It's mirroring what you don't like within yourself. So, but you don't know this yet. You don't. This is on a subconscious level, so you don't understand this. So straight away you're pointing the finger and you're scorning them or judging them or gossiping about them behind their back. All this stuff leads to suffering. So you have to this is where the taking responsibility comes in. You have to own them qualities that you don't like within yourself, that you're rejecting, that you're trying to escape from by acting in your ego, by turning to drugs, alcohol, addictions to sex, addictions to food, addictions to hurting people, you know? So this is where it's all coming from. You're trying to escape from yourself, but then when you're trying to escape from yourself, you're seeing yourself mirrored in all other people all around the world, and then you're hating the world, and you think that you personally hate them, and really and truly, it's just yourself. It's all back to self. Know thyself. That's the message that I'm sending. Know thyself. And I've been through a lot of stuff, and I've come out the other side, and I feel I want to share my experiences, what helped me through this journey, and what's helping me. I'm still in the journey, and what's helping me from day to day. So you're going to hear me on here. I'll come on and I'll say, listen, if I had done something today that I wasn't happy with, I'm going to let the people know. So, and I'm going to let them people know how I dealt with it and how I went about it, how I tried to rectify it. Put it that way. So,
in 500 yards.
People, you just need to know that you're here, you're unique, and you're here, and you got a purpose, and it's not whatever you're doing now. You might be touching on your purpose, like, you know, you might be mingling in your purpose, because we all do our purpose without even knowing, but we just don't recognize it. So we need to start recognizing, cultivating it, and expanding on it, and becoming it. It's a process. Okay. So anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that, and peace and blessings to all the people out there. Have a good day. Stay positive. Stay in your true self. Try it. When you something happens and you feel that party that wants to react, that wants to get angry, that wants to tell him by himself, that wants to cuss the person or whatever you want to do, however you want to react, just don't allow yourself to for that moment. And if you can't react in a good way, you're so angry, just leave it and come back. But address the situation if you have to. If not, just hold it down and try and come from that true self. It takes courage because you feel that true self there wanting to come out. But then the ego takes over. We allow it to take over because we're afraid. It's fear that allows us to do that. That's really what it is. It's fear. And when I say fear, I don't mean fear of people or fear of getting beat down. I mean fear of expressing who we truly are, because we're afraid that people won't accept who we are. So we be something that we ain't to be accepted. But then that's the problem, because when you be something you ain't, you don't accept yourself. So you're never going to be happy. So you're better off being yourself and losing all these people and maybe having only one true friend and being happy than not being yourself and gaining all these people, and you're only gaining people that's not vibrating in their true self. Once you're vibrating in your full self, once you're vibrating in your ego, you're only going to attract other people who's exactly the same. That's the problem. Who's paralyzed and can't be their self. When you start being yourself, you will lose them people, and you will have true people in your life who are their true self. Who is it? John Lennon said, when you're honest, you won't have a lot of friends, but you will have the right ones. So I'm going to leave it at that. Peace and blessings, and I hope you have a blessed day, and I'll catch up I'll catch up with you lot soon. I'll have a new video coming up soon. Don't know when, but peace.